when I look today at, Premier League in England, I see, okay, I played with him, I played against him. And then we come into Ukraine, and we know Ukraine Kiev is beautiful, but some villages are a bit, looks like villages from maybe Soviet time. And then we come back to Kiev, and 2-3 days later, you get this video message of this guy that said I was in school, and we had a sports class, and one guy said he has broken his finger. So what did he do? He prayed for him. Asked, can I pray for you? He prayed for him, and he gets healed. He's preaching the gospel. And we realize God wants to use those people that are nothing in the eyes of people, and those that are not qualified, equipped, all of that, and he wants to use them. And for me, it's just God can use anyone if you're willing.
Hello friends, my name is Igor, this is Jesus Revolution Podcast, and today we will speak with beautiful couple, family, Elias and Veronica Flo. And actually this is the first time when I am hosting a podcast in English, so please be polite for me or to my words, and maybe I will not say some words, but anyway, I hope that our conversation will be very interesting. So Elias and Veronica, hello.
Hello.
Hey.
Yeah, so let's begin from begin. Quickly, can you say how you met, and actually where you met each other and you became a family?
Yes. So we met in Norway, in Jesus Revolution. We were there in this missions program in Oslo. And they say it's Jesus Revolution is a good place to meet people because you have the same heart, you do missions and stuff like this. So we met there, we got together. Shortly after we got engaged, married, moved to Ukraine.
Cool. Is it correct?
Should I put my version?
Yeah. If it's something different, you can.
No, it's not different. It's just more details, I guess.
Of course. Yeah. I like the joke that, boys have a short movie or trailer, how it was, and girls have
a whole movie.
Even, I guess, series, with few seasons.
Yeah. In Jesus Revolution, we have this rule that first year you are not allowed to date, basically for you to have the right focus, and that you will focus on God. You will not focus on boys and girls that you are living together with. Like, this is a missions base. So imagine you are living together with 20 people. It's both boys and girls. So it's easy to be distracted. And I finished my first year, so I was officially allowed to date. And then Elias came for his first year, and I met him, and I was like, oh no, I have to wait. So I had to wait the whole year, but I liked him. So I had to wait the whole year, and then we started to date. As soon as it was over.
Yeah. This morning I listening audio Bible, and there was a story about Isaac, who waited for 7 years for his future wife.
I felt like Isaac.
But you have only one. So it's okay. You're in black, you're in white. Is it something idea on it, or just
No.
We are black and white.
Okay. Yeah. Some questions. What do you think? What inspired you to pursue a life dedicated to a mission?
I think for me, I was raised up in a Christian family, so I was really used to going to church and doing all of the right things. Sorry
that I interrupt you. Maybe also it's good to describe, like, what does a missionary's life is, because sometimes people think, okay, missionaries, it's somebody who are going to Africa or to Asia, poor countries, and like giving to kids food and making pictures, and that's all. So what it is?
I mean, missionary is basically someone that brings the good news, and I mean, you can do it wherever you are. You can do it in your workplace, you can do it in your school, you can do it in your city, even. You don't have to go to Africa. So,
except if you live there.
That's what I thought before, that you have to go to Africa to become a missionary, or Asia or something like far away. So I never actually knew how to preach the gospel or that we have to preach the gospel until I went to a camp and they were saying that this is actually the main task we have as Christians is to love God, to know Him, and to make Him known, like to tell others about Him. So after this camp, I really felt like God, He can use me and He wants to use me. And He should use me. I should say yes to Him. So after this camp, a lot of things changed in my heart. And I said, okay, I want to become that person that brings the good news, like becomes a missionary, even if it's in my school or if it's in my workplace, and also traveling and sharing it in different nations.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Yeah. And for you?
No, for me, I never had the plan to be a missionary at all.
Okay.
I was a football player.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I was going. But then when I came back to Jesus, kind of from living a life a bit like I wanted,
Yeah, sorry. I guess it's important if you can tell your little story. Before you came to missionary and life, I mean, and all this thing about football.
Yeah. So I was playing football my entire life, and I had one dream, and it was to be the best football player ever. So I kind of sacrificed everything, laid aside everything to become that, and I trained hard every day, twice a day. But
you played in national team.
And then I played for the national team when I was 16 and 17. We traveled Europe. We played with some of the best players in the world, and we played against some of the best players in the world. Like when I look today at Premier League in England, I see, okay, I played with him, I played against him, I knew him, I have his not contact, but I can contact him. And so kind of that was where I was going until I realized that, I always believed in God, but I was not living right. And then COVID came, no football games, training, but you had to have 1 meter distance, and you were just running, and it was boring, and it was, yeah. And then I came back to the Lord. I had a strong encounter with God, and I realized, I need to live all in. And then I started to just read the Bible, and I fell in love with Jesus. And then we started to evangelize, me and some friends. We went out in the streets, we spoke to the drug addicts, we were sitting with them, praying for them, and gave food and stuff like this. And I realized, wow, this is what I want. This is, I found much more satisfaction in this than in football. And then sometime after, I felt the Lord was speaking to me that I've been living my whole life for something that is meaningless and useless, and that now is the time to live for Him. And then I quickly after that quit football, continued to evangelize, and I realized this is my passion. This is what I want. And then I joined mission training school in Oslo. So for me, a missionary is someone that is on a mission, with a task, with a specific thing, and for some it means to go to Africa and build a house and live there for 90 years, and that's what you do. But for others, it can be, for example, for us moving to Ukraine. Serving in a so-called Christian nation, but it's still to reach people with the gospel, to equip others, to do the things that Jesus did, and like Veronica said, it can be done everywhere. And so missionary is not a title you find in the Bible, or it's just you're on a mission, like all of us as Christians. So yeah.
What was the reason that you moved to Ukraine? And you served here for last 1.5 years. Yeah, because it's dangerous. It's during wartime, and you just get married, and after few weeks, you moved like to Ukraine. Like usually, maybe some couple think, okay, we will live for ourselves, like during 1 year, or let's say 6 months, or somebody say 1 year and live 10 years for themselves. But anyway, what I don't know, Lord put on your heart, or what? So why you decided this?
We're actually on honeymoon still.
Nice.
No, I'm joking.
Extreme honeymoon.
But I like this answer, actually. It's to maybe feel yourself, or to see on your family life that this is honeymoon.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I wouldn't call it honeymoon, but no, for me,
Maybe Veronica totally.
What? It's not honeymoon.
no, we like for me, I went to Ukraine in the beginning of the war. I had 1 week off in our mission school, so I went to Ukraine with some friends, and we were preaching the gospel on the border, and it gripped my heart that the gospel really works, and people were saved, and desperate, of course, because of war. But then I was also praying and thinking a lot about Ukraine, and then we got together. She is from Ukraine. She never wanted to come back to Ukraine. Well, then the Lord started to move in my heart, and then our leaders said, we want to start our mission space in Ukraine. And immediately I felt, oh man, we need to be a part of that. We need to join. And she didn't want to, but then after some time of prayer, she understood, okay, maybe this is what we should do. And then
Yeah, I was more of like, God, here am I, send someone else. Yeah, but when I started in missions organization, Jesus Revolution, this is a missions organization, so they speak about nations, they speak about going out and being missionary in different nations. And I specifically was thinking about, okay, Lord, I want to go everywhere else but not Ukraine. Like, please don't send me back to Ukraine. And I knew that God has such a sense of humor that He would send me back to Ukraine. So I kind of felt that this could happen. And then Ukraine came up really often, and I was really resisting it. But then once Stefan, the founder of Jesus Revolution, he was sharing about that they were gonna start a base in Ukraine. And I got this fear, actually, like, what if they would send me back because I am Ukrainian? Like, what if they would send me back as a representative of Ukraine? And I was like, what would I answer? And I was like, I can't just answer no, because this is stupid. And I started thinking about it, like, if God would send me there, would I be willing to go there for God, like not for my own desires, because obviously I don't want to, but if that was for God. And so I was left with this question, and I was dwelling a little bit on it, and it started kind of working on me. And then when the war started, I immediately started thinking, oh, this is the perfect time to start the base. So my heart immediately was open. And in this time we also started dating. We started speaking about future, and he mentioned Ukraine a lot, and I was like, oh no. Like, I have already thought about this, but I didn't know this was gonna come so quickly. But then the more we spoke about it, the more I understood, okay, this can actually happen now. And I think, why not? Like, why wait? We can just go. Yeah. So.
I think you have a lot of different testimonies and stories how it was during this time, that how people in Ukraine react to the good news, to gospel. But I want to ask you, what do you think? How has your faith tested or grown during this time? Or maybe not grown. I'm joking.
Many areas. I think if you think about the work, we started from scratch, like from zero, and we spoke about it this morning, actually, that all the testimonies we have are a result of prayer. So we have prayed this year much more than we've done previous years, and we've seen much more fruit. So I think in that, just relying on God, like if we don't pray, if we don't act, we will see nothing. So I think in that sense, we've been praying and really asking God for faith and also to see things. And then, financially, we're newly married. People want to have a stable life and all of that. And we come here and, we have some support, of course. But it's funny sometimes, God, where's the money? Like, we need to pay rent and we need to fix our car. And so it's this thing also not just now, but my whole life in missions has been like this, constant
Walk by faith.
walk by faith, and it's probably multiple other things, but
I think it's been good to be here, like for faith, because in Bible school and in an environment where there's people just like you with the same mind, with the same vision, they are always building you up. And when you are out of that environment, you are being challenged in your faith and in your habits and everything. So coming here, you have to make a lot of decisions for yourself. Like, okay, we need to decide to pray. We need to decide to spend time with God. This is not in your program anymore. So you have to learn how to walk on your own with God and how to trust Him. And coming here also, it was really like unknown. We have no clue what to do. We have no clue how to do it. And we have never started a mission space before. So also like asking God, okay, what do we do? So as Elias shared, like a lot, growing in prayer and growing in trusting in the Word of God, trusting in His promises. I think it's been really, really helpful. And sometimes it's even better to be in a challenging situation because it makes you grow, even if you don't want to.
But I also think if we think about the war, coming into a nation where there's rockets, there's drones, you can die, and just also to go through that in your heart and knowing, okay, now I put my life at the risk, and not just for a week or two, but we decide to live here.
Yeah.
And then you read the Bible, and it's easy to sit in Norway and you read, if the enemy is on the right side and the left side, and if you protect me.
Is it Sweden or this is Finland?
Exactly.
Or Denmark.
But then you read those verses when you sit in your apartment and there's an air alert and you see, okay, a drone coming towards Kostomel and explosions in Chernihiv, and realize, oh, this is actually real. But to testify that I have never experienced fear in 1.5 years. And it's not to say because I'm so holy or anything, but I think it's been the protection of the Lord. I've barely heard anything, explosions or, barely anything. I think 2 or 3 times in 1.5 years. And we've been everywhere, in the south, in the east, in the west. And I think it's the Lord really protected our hearts and our eyes. And
I understand. Yeah, thank you. I have a question. It's that thing which can be useful, I guess, to the people who planning or want to be missionaries, and also to our people in Ukraine, because somebody can think, okay, like what people from Norway, maybe also you have had these thoughts, like what we can give to people of Ukraine. For example, like we as somebody from abroad, far away, and people who are living in this area with all kinds of problems, which you mentioned, like war and other things, which included war.
I mean,
I mean, what to do if somebody also think, oh, like I'm here, I am in some country, and they are there, no matter where, like living with their problems. What I can give to them?
I think a simple answer would be preach the gospel and to really show the love of Jesus. And I heard Heidi Baker said, love has to look like something. So also not to show it only with your words, but with actions. So I know there's a lot of humanitarian help that is going on in Ukraine, which is really, really good. But also not forget to preach the gospel, because we can give a lot of physical help, and we can give a lot of psychological help, like mental health and stuff, which is so important in this time. A lot of people are struggling from fear, anxiety, and so many things. But then I also think that they're still bound to sin, and they're still like they need Jesus, and only Jesus can totally set them free from all kinds of fear, all kinds of anxiety, all kinds of addictions. And I mean, thinking about Ukrainian youth, they're normal youth with the same struggles as everywhere else in Europe and in the world. Plus, they also have war on top of that, which basically only Jesus can solve this problem. Like only Jesus can help to set people totally free. Like, yeah, I mean, psychological help, mental stuff, it can help. It can make it better, but I don't think it can set the person totally free. So, yeah, preach the gospel.
Yeah, there's somewhere in the Bible, Jesus said, it's better for you to, how is it? A person can be physically well, but their soul goes to hell.
Yeah.
And you can be, you know, have only one leg, but you can still go to heaven. And to understand that the soul is the most important thing. But not that we need to choose either. We can do both. That we can focus first and foremost on the souls of people, but then we can also help them physically and demonstrate the love of God. And
through soul, everything. Next step is healed. Yeah. Good reason. Thank you for your advice. Also, I repeat this, but I think you have really a lot of good stories during this time. Maybe just in a short way, like some of you can say some funny story which happened to this time, and some like really maybe, you know, deeply testimonial story which touched your heart. Yeah, you can choose who will tell what.
Okay, I can start. One funny story.
Yeah.
So, you know, you come into missions and you think, like, we traveled in Europe last year and we saw like both sides. We were sleeping on the floor for many months. And then in the next city, we had a hotel room. So we experienced the really mission side and then the good side.
Sorry for a question. How many countries you visited?
We were in 45 or somewhere.
45?
Around 45.
More in Europe.
Almost all countries in Europe. And then we come into Ukraine, and we know Ukraine Kiev is beautiful. But some villages are a bit, looks like villages from maybe Soviet time and things like this. And some places we had a beautiful apartment. They gave us, you know, it looked like it cost multiple $1 million, at least given us. And then one city, I will not say the name, but we come in there and it's just a total village. We're driving from the church to the place we sleep for 1 hour, and we come to an old woman deep in the village. Babushka, proper babushka. And the road is so shaky.
Now, just to explain, the road was like bumpy. It was not possible to drive there more than 10 kilometers
all
an hour.
Ukrainians understand.
But this is the worst
they're talking about.
And then we come короче. And then after we are coming to, we're there, and it's just one of the girls are puking in the night, and we eat food that is interesting. And then we are having the church is just very impossible to understand. It's a church. The toilet is physically, you can lift it up and you can move it to another room. It's not even stuck to the ground. And then we're having a meeting, and then when we're done with the meeting, we're all tired, and we're going to a new city that evening. And they're saying, we have food for you. And they come with food, and this, I don't know even how to explain it in English. It's
Perlovka z tuszonką.
Yeah, it's kind of... Oh, it's even hard to explain.
And basically none of us...
Some porridge.
Just for you to understand, it looks grey with some meat inside, and you don't want to taste it at all.
But to be like full story, from all team, as I know, like Veronica was only one who ate it.
The rest of us, we couldn't. And usually in Jesus Revolution, we have a policy that when we come somewhere, we receive, even if we don't like it, we eat it.
Yeah.
But all of us are looking at each other with desperation in our eyes and please help.
And I had this mentality that I just forget about my sense of smell and I just eat it.
Yeah, so that was kind of that side of missions where it was just funny and how to say it, like the church looked like a farm.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just hilarious. But then good stories, there's a lot more good stories than bad stories.
Yeah.
The most recent one last week, because we are working with schools, universities, inspire young people to go and do something. And we're in this city where there is a Pentecostal church and a charismatic church working together. And the Pentecostal church is not like Pentecostal church in Norway. I'm from Pentecostal church in Norway. We believe in the Holy Spirit, miracles, signs, wonders, all of this.
We're
dancing, we're free.
God. Yeah.
But Pentecostal church in Ukraine is a bit different.
Yeah, it's to understanding. Maybe you can see how looks Orthodox Church in Ukraine, and just take that group of people who are looking like they're in Orthodox Church, except priests, and put them to kind of hall of some Protestant church, and this will be Pentecostal church.
That's a good one. And there, we're gathering them, and we're speaking about how to share the gospel, how to pray for the sick, and then we say, in 2 days we will do this. And then after we have this training, we're practicing straight away. And some of the guys, they tell me, we have never, ever prayed for the sick. We didn't even know it was possible. In our church, it's only the pastor or those that serves, and they do it with oil. That's how we pray for the sick. And we said, okay. And then we are speaking to them about you can do it in your school. You can preach the gospel in your school. And then we ask, who wants to do it? Who wants to commit to do it? And then you have these two guys. They know how to preach the gospel. But we ask them, do you want? And they say, no, we don't really want to do this. I think, okay, it's fine. And then there's this guy he says, I want to do this. But you understand, he's really not equipped. He don't know how to do things. He's,
speaking not so well.
Not speaking well. Don't really know what to say. But he has a heart of, I want to do this. And I think that's much more powerful than us going somewhere and preaching and we have our stories and we leave. Yeah. But he's doing it in his school. It's the hardest place. It's easy to go to somewhere else. You go to your friends, those that see you every day, and you do it, and God shows up.
Veronica, I have a question to you about balance in family, and I mean how you balanced mission work and family life.
Yeah, I would say it's not the easiest to kind of clear it. Okay, now we do missions work, and now we do now we are on the family things. So usually when we come home, we try to not speak so much about ministry and rather speak about other things. But it's easier said than done. So I mean, missions. We are together all the time. We're together in our mission and our ministry. We're traveling together, and we are home together. So we're never apart. And then missions is basically, or ministry, it's basically everything that we do. So it's hard, I would say, to put a really clear line. But of course, it's nice that when you're going to bed that you're not speaking about ministry, of course. But I think it's something that we can become better at. I think all of us, we can become better at this. But I mean, it's normal people, they probably speak about work or other things, and our work is ministry, so it's normal for us to end up there. But we also try to find hobbies. There was a period of time we were running a lot, so that was also something that we were speaking more about. And trying to spend some time with friends instead of.
But we also have some clear, I think it's a lot about intentionality. Yeah. That you're intentional, and when we are doing work, we do work. But then, let's say at least we have one day a week where we don't do ministry. And that's kind of our day for family. We're just together. We're doing fun things. We're resting, but then at the same time we are a family on mission. Yeah. So we are always family everywhere, and it's a blessing.
Yeah.
What are your plans for future? Because you spend almost 1.5 year in Ukraine. And what's next steps?
So first, we are expecting a baby.
Wow.
So that's a
Whoa,
blessing.
May.
And then we are moving back to Norway, and we're going to be a part of Jesus Revolution from there. So they asked us to come back and be a part of that team. So we will do basically what we have done, just from another place with other people. But our plan is to continue in missions, to reach the youth of the world, to go wherever he calls us, as a family.
Yes.
Yeah.
Short.
Still being missionaries.
I guess after Ukrainian villages, you're ready for
Everything.
everything.
Maybe.
And food.
Yeah.
But we haven't seen Africa or deep
Yeah.
in the jungle in Asia yet, but
Of course, yeah, I guess it
I
could
think
be
that is a bit more.
I think it can be more right.
another
extreme.
experience. Yeah. What advice would you give to young couples considering missionary work, and maybe not only young couples, but young persons who want to join in to this journey and think how it looks like, what I can expect?
I think it's so important to not think that, oh, now we're a couple or now we're married, so we're kind of done with our part. I cannot be missionary because we are married. I think some people do think so. But also to kind of think, oh, we can do it together and we can be in ministry together. And it's not like we do exactly the same thing. So I do a lot of media work, and it's actually a lot of office work. And it looks sometimes really boring. So and it's also missions. So I mean, in ministry and in missions, you need all kinds of people. You need administrators. You need people that can cook. People that can be secretary or good at planning, good at Excel sheets and all kinds of these things. Also people that love to preach from the stage, that can lead the worship. There's so many things that you can do in missions, and don't exclude yourself. When you're thinking about missions, we often think that you have to be an evangelist or you have to be someone that is ready to preach from the stage. It's always good to know how to preach, and it's always good to be ready to preach, because it's a place where you have to be flexible, and sometimes they need everyone to be ready. But then most of the time it's also a lot of boring stuff like office work and missions, like ministry. We need people. And often we say that, we need more workers. There's not enough of people.
I've heard that before, somewhere in the Bible.
Yeah, somewhere in the Bible it speaks about that. So also
38.
if you're thinking about ministry, missions, family, don't exclude yourself just because you are not a typical evangelist. You can do so much more. You can move to another nation, or you can stay in your own nation, and you can help with whatever talents God has given to you. So, yeah.
My call for the people, not couples necessarily, but just people that are interested in missions, don't take it so seriously. Like people think, I'm 19, I need to get a job, I need to have education, I need to get married, I need to buy a house, I need to get a car. No,
you will
die anyways.
Yeah. And I guess you will think the same in 25, in 30, in 35, and 40.
And people ask me sometimes, you're wasting the best years of your life. Your 20s, you're wasting them for something useless. My friends are studying, working. I'm saying, no, I'm wasting my entire life for Jesus. It's worth it. And Jesus said, go into all the world and preach the gospel. And why haven't we reached all the world yet? Because there is no people. People are not willing.
Yeah.
And I think, don't take it so serious. If Jesus already said it, why don't we do it? So if you set aside 1 year of your life to do a Bible school and mission school, or 2 years or 3 years, or even 5, 10 years, it's fine. I'm sure the Lord is going to provide for you. He's going to be with you. He's going to challenge you. He's going to shape your life. And the most important thing is when you hear the call, that you obey. And for young people, no matter which situation they're in, I think it's good to have 1 year, 1 year of serving God, getting out of your mom's house, travel a bit, see the world, experience. Sometimes it's good to see pain and suffering. It's good to experience how God can use you. It's good to experience all of this thing. And then maybe God calls you back to business or to study. Go for it. But I don't believe, how to say it, I believe God has called more people to missions than people we have in missions.
Yeah.
Then
So
they accept.
the problem is not the calling, the problem is the answering.
Yeah.
So
And also, like, if you're older, it's harder to say yes to missions because you're settled, you have family, you have house. So do it while you're young and then experience it. So
Yeah, I'm so sorry. Yeah, but this is really very important. Thank you that you're sharing with this. And unfortunately, our time is running out. And thank you for your story. And we pray that Lord will use you everywhere where He wants to use you.
amen.
Yeah, and thank you guys that you watched this video. Please subscribe, make some comments, write to us, maybe some also thoughts which you have. And thank you for everything, and see you next time. And may God bless you.
Blessings.